All sins are attempts to fill voids. The words of the philosopher Simone Weil land not like a judgment, but like a quiet diagnosis of the human heart. They speak of a hollowness, an ache that precedes the transgression. Before the act, there is emptiness. Before the choice, there is the need. We have, all of us, felt this void, a peculiar form of modern poverty that has nothing to do with a lack of things and everything to do with a lack of meaning. And we have been given a cure, a simple, elegant, and endlessly available solution for this inner ache. It is offered to us on billboards, whispered to us in advertisements, served to us through glowing screens. The cure is more. More stimulation, more novelty, more sensation, more to see, more to own, and, most primally, more to consume. There is an ancient vice that describes a disordered relationship with this consumption, a word so archaic, so associated with moralistic fables, that we no longer see it for what it is. We don't see it because we are swimming in it. It has become the very water of our culture. It is no longer a sin to be condemned, it is an economic engine to be celebrated.
How did this happen? How did a deadly sin become a lifestyle? It began with a simple, brilliant act of marketing. The disordered appetite was rebranded. It was no longer a sign of spiritual sickness, but a badge of personal freedom. Treat yourself. You deserve it. Indulge your cravings. This is the new liturgy. It transforms a moment of weakness into an act of self-care. The frantic pursuit of pleasure is recast as a journey of self-discovery. An anxious need to numb the self is sold to us as the highest form of loving the self. Think of the lonely art of modern eating. A meal, for nearly all of human history, was a communal ritual. It was a sacrament of fellowship, of gratitude, of slowing down. It was a story shared over bread. Now, for so many, it is a solitary transaction conducted with a screen. An algorithm suggests, a stranger delivers, we consume alone. It is a transaction, not a communion. It is fuel, not fellowship. The table, once the center of the home, has been replaced by an altar of convenience, and we wonder why we feel so disconnected. But what if this is not a bug, but a feature? What if an entire economic system depends on us feeling this way? An economy built on perpetual growth requires perpetually dissatisfied citizens. It needs us to believe that the solution to the unease caused by the last purchase is the next purchase. It needs our hungers to be bottomless. In such a world, a virtue like temperance, the art of knowing when you have enough, is not just quaint, it is a direct threat to the system. It is an act of quiet rebellion.
The Desert Fathers, living in the stark clarity of the wilderness, understood that the way we desire shapes the people we become. They saw that the problem wasn't the food itself, but the posture of the soul towards it. They spoke of an eagerness, an ardor, that revealed a spirit in chains, a haste that showed a mind too distracted for gratitude, an obsession with delicacy that turned nourishment into a performance of the ego. They saw that the appetite, left unchecked, does not merely want to be fed, it wants to rule. This is a loss of what the Stoics called inner freedom. For them, the truly free man was not the one who could have anything he wanted, but the one who did not need to have anything he didn't have. He was the master of his inner citadel. The moment we say, I cannot be happy without this, whether this is a particular food, a drink, or a digital distraction, We have handed the keys of our citadel to an outside force. We have become exquisitely vulnerable. This vulnerability is the space where modern commerce lives and breathes. It has perfected the art of creating an itch and then selling us the temporary relief of a scratch, all the while ensuring the itch will return, perhaps even stronger than before.
Why do we fall for it? Why do we trade our freedom for such fleeting comforts? Because the surface hunger masks a deeper one. Carl Jung spoke of the unlived life of an individual, the parts of our potential that we neglect, repress, and deny. These neglected parts do not simply vanish. They fester in the shadow of our psyche and re-emerge in distorted forms. The hunger for creative expression, when starved, can reappear as a compulsive craving for sugar. The thirst for true intimacy, when ignored, can manifest as an unquenchable need for another drink. The longing for spiritual silence, when buried under noise, can return as a mindless drive to consume endless streams of content. The appetite of the body becomes a vent for the starvation of the soul. We are trying to solve a spiritual problem with a material solution. And the tragedy, the one we feel deep in our bones after the binge is over, is the gnawing awareness that it will never, ever work. We have fed the ghost, but the man remains hungry.
The modern world, having sold us the disease, then gallantly offers us the cure: willpower, the diet, the regimen, the app that counts every calorie as if life were a problem of accounting. But this too is a trap. It is a battle waged on the wrong battlefield. It pits our conscious mind against the immense, ancient power of our unconscious drives and cultural conditioning. It is a recipe for failure, and this failure is profitable. The diet industry does not make its billions from our success. It thrives on the reliable rhythm of our failure, our shame, and our desperate hope that the next diet will be the one that finally works. And what if the cure we are sold is merely a more sophisticated version of the disease? The obsession with clean eating, the anxiety over every ingredient, the moral superiority of the ascetic. This too can be a form of disordered eating, a way of turning food into a fortress for a fragile ego. The chains of indulgence are merely swapped for the chains of obsessive control. In both cases, the person is not free. The path out is not through more restriction, but through a different kind of hunger. The opposite of a disordered feast is not a famine. It is a true feast. This begins with the ancient and forgotten practice of fasting, not as a crash diet, but as a spiritual reset, a willing temporary abstention from a lesser good to make space for a greater one. Fasting quiets the frantic clamor of the body so that the quiet whisper of the soul might be heard. It is in that chosen silence that we can finally ask the essential question: what am I truly hungry for? And the answer, when it comes, is never a thing that can be bought or consumed. It is a quality of being, a hunger for stillness, a hunger for connection, a hunger for purpose, a hunger for beauty, a hunger for God. To heal is to begin, slowly and deliberately, to feed this deeper self, to find nourishment not in what we put in our mouths, but in what we allow into our lives. It is to discover that a walk in the woods can satisfy a craving that no amount of ice cream ever could, that a moment of genuine, vulnerable conversation can fill a void that a bottle of wine only deepens. This is the slow, patient work of alchemy, transforming the lead of our raw, compulsive appetites into the gold of a conscious, ordered love. It is to learn that the ultimate human task is not to eliminate our hunger, for a life without desire is a life without life, but to educate it, to elevate it, and to aim it at the food that does not perish, to learn at last how to host a feast within our own soul.